Today's episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio is brought to you by Gamers Inn, your one-stop location for all your gaming needs. Located in Lehigh City, Utah, their fun and friendly staff will be more than happy to answer any of your gaming needs. Just remember, Gamers Inn, it's where adventures begin.
Autobots, roll out! Broadcasting live from the DCR studio.
Oh, yeah!
The Geek Revolution starts here.
Excellent!
Get ready for the #1 hit geek radio show out there.
Well, it is impressive, isn't it?
Because it's time for Dungeon Crawlers Radio. Let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Welcome to another episode of Dungeon Crawlers, where it's the first of the year. And we've survived winter. Yep, that's right.
Can you say
the
that?
Zombies
Happy New
did not
Year
come.
to you.
What?
It's freaking 50 degrees outside.
Dude, I was in California after Christmas. It was 80 degrees. I was wearing shorts and a hoodie. Everyone was running around with coats on. It was the weirdest thing. But
All that I care about is that we record from Utah and we have no snow.
I know.
Snow, which
I don't have to
love
shovel. It's
because
awesome.
Utahns don't know how to drive in the snow.
I
It's
hate
fantastic.
the snow. I wish I didn't have to live where it snowed.
I love the
You
fact
are
that it
in the
hasn't snowed.
wrong state except for this year.
Yeah.
I love it. I have not had to shovel my driveway once.
Yeah, it's been very nice.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of frost on my window in the morning. It's not enough that I have to scrape it. I just turn the heater on and wipe my windows and drive.
Not me.
It's nice. It's great.
I don't know if where I live is like
Well,
frost central because I have to scrape it.
Well, it's probably because you're getting the canyon winds that zip through, because I know about where you live, so, yeah.
Do not say where I live.
I'm not. I'm saying
Okay.
I know where you live. So
Mackenzie's
volume needs to go
very
down a
quiet.
bit? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that when we're speaking very loud, and Mackenzie's very quiet.
Okay, so Mackenzie needs to increase her volume.
Or we can digitally increase it.
Or we'll
But then she gets
digitally
excited.
increase it.
Did you really just say that after what we were just talking in between shows?
I don't remember what we were talking about.
Okay, so we'll move on. So anyways, first episode of the year, we're going to be talking about a movie that came out at the end of the year that we tried to talk about that somehow didn't work. And so we're going to talk about it again.
Got
and
lost
let
in
you
the
know.
time stream.
Okay, now we're maxing everything out.
Yay, now we're maxing out.
Well, Dan's maxing out. Oh, I guess I'm maxing out too. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go. We're adjusting things. There we go.
So,
All right,
so
anyways.
basically, listeners, we recorded a show that was awesome.
Yes, it
because
was.
We jumped in on the conversation that is splitting the fandoms.
Oh, yeah?
Right down the center.
And my dogs gave their opinion.
Yeah, and we weighed in. And apparently we had audio recording issues. So now we are testing some new audio recording techniques, which is what you're getting to experience live.
Yay!
And we're going to get to talk about
Star Wars!
The splitting of the fandom.
The splitting of the Force.
The great divide.
Yes.
I have had no desire to see it again. I'm sorry.
I've seen it 8 times.
My favorite
Yeah.
thing.
Thus we see the two
Spoiler
extremes.
alert already?
Oh,
Can I
I
throw
think-
that out there?
I think
Or
it's
is that...
been-
I think it's
past
been long
2
enough
weeks.
that you're
so,
fine.
Yeah,
You know,
we're
I-
almost a month out. I think anyone listening to this, if you haven't seen it, it's your own fault.
I love how Snook said exactly what I was thinking the entire time I saw the first one. It was, or at least the previous one leading up to that with Kylo Ren. Why with the mask? Why are you such a little
that
kid?
was an
Why are
excellent
you
point.
so ridiculous? And when he said that, I loved how he then destroyed that ridiculous and then was like, all right, maybe I will grow up a little bit. And he did. He seemed to, I don't know, kind of...
So I think
less
this is an
ridiculous.
interesting point. Yes, but I think Snoke was really kind of annoyed with him because he had fostered this idea that he was going to be the next Darth Vader. So I'm pretty sure he's the one that said, put on a mask, become like Vader, blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly he's like treating him like a little child.
But he also failed at the end of The Force Awakens because of Rey.
You're right, he did. It's very interesting what's happened. I mean, episode 7, a lot of it looks like it was trying to, revitalize everyone's love for Star Wars. from J.J. Abrams.
It didn't need to be revitalized.
I know.
But
Then
I
we
still
get
love
to
it.
8, and it's like Disney and Rian Johnson are just saying, we don't care if you're a fan or not. We don't care what you think. This is where the story's going. I mean, from the moment you see Luke Skywalker, Rey hands him the lightsaber, he looks at it. Everyone's thinking, oh man, he's going to train Rey, and he throws the lightsaber over his shoulder like he doesn't care
That was
and
a good
walks
moment.
off. It's like the second I saw that, it's like I had no clue where this movie was going.
See, and you know what I thought of about that whole mask comment? To me, it felt there's a very in-depth, deep, meaningful reason for it. And it felt like we had two separate writers, and one writer was criticizing what the other writer had come up with and established.
Kind of.
And
I mean,
think
kind
it was
of.
unfair
You know what?
criticism.
It was like Rian Johnson
Get rid
was
of
calling
that thing.
J.J. Abrams out a little bit.
It's like he did that more than once in this show.
Okay, yes,
have you
he did.
noticed that?
Yes,
like,
yes, I
little
have.
tiny things like, you're building up for this? You think that's important? Nah, let's look it over here.
The cool part about Darth Vader being in what he was in is because he needed it to survive.
Well,
he was so
but
far
let's be
gone
honest,
and
we
so
didn't-
far destroyed from all the things that had happened to him.
But we didn't know that until Empire Strikes
You're right,
Back.
but this is the amazing thing about Darth Vader. When he shows up for the first time, all the villains we've ever seen in cinema and that were just guys. We didn't see any, they wore darker clothing, but they had a human face. They were human beings.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars shows up, and he walks onto. We see the stormtroopers come out, and we're like, okay, this is interesting. And then they're all in white and kind of black, and you see this menacing figure with his helmet. I mean, you can't even see his human features.
There's no expression. Exactly.
Yeah.
It separates you from having any sort of empathy with him
Yeah.
because he's not like you. And then he does these horrible things. That sets him up as an amazing villain.
Yeah, and everyone's just, everyone's just like, oh, he's still one of my all-time favorite villains.
He's
completely and
iconic.
totally.
He's almost above the villain status. I think villains, and I don't think him because he's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He's just he's evil.
Palpatine, who cares? Vader
Exactly.
is the embodiment of total evil in Star Wars when you think about it. The Force choke, the deep James Earl Jones voice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the Force choke kind of got ruined for me after Rogue One.
Rogue One
Yeah.
was dumb.
No, it was not.
No, when they pulled that Force choke and
Okay.
choke on your ambitions.
Nobody even
oh
laughed
my
in the theater.
gosh.
People actually moaned audibly.
I know.
Like,
I think they did it, mind you.
It would have
know
been
what?
so much better if he wouldn't have said a word. Just did the Force choke and then walked away.
And then it would have made the awesomeness at the end that much better.
But the amazingness of Vader at the end, beautiful. Beautiful.
I got scared. I hadn't been scared of Vader in a long, long, long time. And Rogue One made me scared of him again.
Well, this is the Vader we've always wanted to see. Because, let's face it, in the movies, we didn't really get to see much. Even in Return of the Jedi, it was still kind of clunky and clumsy. But seeing Vader in the end of Rogue One, where he's just obliterating everyone. I mean, the stormtroopers aren't even there until the very end. They walk up, and he's already obliterated everything. Just fantastic. Slamming the guy to the ceiling, lightsaber. Oh, yeah.
See, and that was the best part of Rogue One. It was amazing. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And it made that entire. It was the period on the end
Now,
of the movie.
the great divide, as you mentioned earlier, is there are fans that are petitioning for Disney to just.
I thought the guy was
Get rid of
drunk
this.
when
The
he
guy
asked.
the main guy that started that was originally drunk.
But
Started
it's
that,
gaining.
and that's
traction.
the problem is that he's tried to say, guys, I was drunk. I didn't mean this.
If it's
But
out on the
problem
internet, it's
that
there
now
forever.
It's
it
out
has
there.
a life of its own.
Yeah.
And his
And-
father has abandoned him.
I mean, Disney wants to, it's to tell Disney to just disregard this movie, redo it, move forward.
Which would annihilate Carrie Fisher's last performance.
It would.
No!
because
which
it
is
was
sad.
amazing.
But at
I
the
love
same
her.
time,
I'm gonna cry.
Disney's not going to do that.
No, they won't.
Of course not.
No,
They are.
the money that would go into that, the loss of money.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like a loss of money. They already have the money.
Yeah, they've already made
Well-
back the money.
Yes, but there would still be a loss of revenue if they were just to toss it aside and throw it out.
You're right.
I mean,
I
there's
wonder-
still all the franchising, the residuals from the more.
Technically, they
people
could
don't see
have it be
still.
like a 4-stream or something, though.
I haven't seen it 8 times. You've probably paid one of the actors' salaries already, taking all your kids and stuff, right?
No, I've only taken my kids once.
All right.
But no, it's a good movie. It is. It
is a well-made movie.
They did
It
a
is
great
well-scripted.
job with the scripting. They've done a great job with the cinematography.
it's
They've
true,
done
they
a
did.
great job with
Very
some
Very well
of the
done.
scenes.
It's just
A lot of fun
There
stuff
are
in it.
some things, and majorly one thing that is what's causing this divide, and
Is it
it
Luke?
is Luke's character, where he's gone. In the extended universe books, it did exist until Disney acquired the product. Luke was a very strong, powerful character.
He was not perfect. He fell to the dark side for a while in the books.
Well, you're right.
He was not perfect.
You're right.
But he was still a strong, powerful
Well, he
character.
fell to the dark side, but that was still fulfilling a prophecy of Star Wars, which is what I feel like they're doing now with Rey. The prophecy in Star Wars
I'm
is...
still sad about his wife.
And I know it's not 100% correct. I can't remember it exactly. But there's one that falls to the dark side, returns to the light, is a powerful Jedi. At that point, they now know the balance of both light and dark. And after Luke returns to the light, he is able to do Force Lightning, but it's emerald. It's an emerald color.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Was that the Swarm Queen or a different?
Yeah. So, and then, Darth Revan has done the same thing. So I kind of see where they're going with Rey, because there are several points in the storyline, in the movie, that is mentioned where Rey can control both the light and the dark. When she's working with Luke, and he's like, he is afraid. She's like, I see the darkness, and he's like, pull back, and she just goes for it. She's like, you just went for it. But she's in complete control. Even when she went down into the cave, she was controlling what the dark side was showing her. Granted, it didn't show her exactly what she wanted, but she was still controlling it. She wasn't afraid or anything.
Do you feel that was a cop-out about her parents?
In regards to her parents, I don't believe Kylo Ren is telling her the truth. But
Even if he was, though. Even if he was, and her parents aren't a Skywalker, which is kind of that point that they were making at the very end with the kid and the broom and the Force, is that anyone can be a Jedi. Anyone can become a legend. Anyone can change the course of the galaxy. And now that most of the Rebel Alliance, or I guess it's not the Rebel Alliance, the Resistance has been completely wiped out, now it falls to every individual person who's not a Kenobi or a Skywalker to be able to step up.
Or a
to
Solo.
change or to change the galaxy.
Yeah, well, and I think that's kind of where they're going. They're trying to get away from the Skywalker.
Well, they specifically said the next trilogy is not going to be Skywalker related.
Which is really sad, because the Skywalker family line is great. They do have their flaws in the books. And I understand they can't continue on with that because, let's face it, Mark Hamill and everyone has gotten older. We've lost Carrie Fisher. We can't really continue on with that storyline.
They should have taken it from Lucas back in the 80s.
But he wasn't ready to let go of that.
I know, but then we wouldn't have the prequels either.
Yeah.
See, no,
Only he knew how to write dialogue.
No. See, what they should have done...
Are you going to tell me every word I just
Yes.
said in that sentence is wrong?
Everyone has their own opinion.
Yes. I think that they should have kept... I think
didn't
you're
get
right.
my
They
reference?
should have kept going with another trilogy about Luke, Leia, their kids, going more along lines with the books, but done it in the 90s, except... George shouldn't have been writing it. He should have written the first
instead
draft,
of the
and then have
prequels.
someone else come in as a writer,
Yeah.
someone else as a director, just like with Empire and Return of the Jedi.
clean it up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But here's
those
the
are
thing:
beautiful
even
films.
if they had done another trilogy with when the prequels came out, that's only 16 years since the the Jedi had came out. They could have picked it up then too.
It would have been nice if they would have leapt forward and we would have got older Han and Luke and that, and all the stuff in the books was still relevant, but then we had a movie with them being older, having their children, and going so forth.
Which we
didn't get
kind
that.
of got in The Force Awakens, but not enough.
Yeah,
It was
we
too far gone.
We kind of got that. Ben is a Solo instead of Luke's son. We don't have Jason and Jaina. We don't have Anakin.
We don't have Mara.
We don't have Mara.
Mara.
However, they are forging their own path. They're going with the storyline, and there is some really good stuff that has come out of the movie. One, there's a really strong moral in there, and not a lot of people are picking up, but heroes are people, and they have faults. We see that in Luke. He had a moment of weakness, which I really believe Snoke had a hand in fueling.
Oh yeah. Snoke. I honestly believe that Snoke implanted that thought into his head.
That would make sense.
Yeah, but he stopped himself.
But it wasn't that moment of weakness, because that's akin to us being in front of Hitler about 1 year before he came to power. Heck, one night before he came to power and slaughtered people. Having the chance to be able to end it right then and there.
Well, I'm just saying he had a moment of weakness, but he stopped. He didn't follow through with that doubt.
But again, it wasn't the moment of weakness that people are upset about. People can live with that moment of weakness because we can see our own self.
But it's Luke's descent
into... It was the 30
into...
years after that.
Yes.
30 years of wasted time.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, after playing...
And closing himself off to the Force.
Yeah, after playing Star Wars Battlefront...
Allowing Han to die.
Yeah. After playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 with the storyline, I was thinking, okay, this compass that he finds is going to be something of value. What the heck does the compass have to do with anything? Nothing. Exactly, nothing. Luke's character became really pointless, it seems like, after Return of the Jedi. It seems like he lost his focus. He tried to rebuild the Jedi. That failed. He ran away.
And then he became whiny like he was in A New Hope.
But Yoda came back.
Or was he just really he reverted back to being a teenager again?
He kind of did. But I really like where they brought Yoda in.
Which was the best moment of the movie.
Which was fantastic.
I liked that.
It was the original puppet. He was the crazy, wily Yoda that we saw in Empire and Return of the Jedi, not the Yoda we saw in the prequels.
See, I wish he would have gone the Yoda route and gone cray-cray instead of curmudgeon.
He kind of did. He kind of got a little crazy and a little bit like
Unhinged.
old Ben.
Yeah.
But what Yoda said was perfect. You didn't learn. Our mistakes are where we learn the most. I mean, he flat out validated, you made a mistake, Luke, but instead of charging forward, you ran.
Well, and the crazy thing is that I think I read somewhere that negated the do or do not, there is no try. It really didn't.
No, it didn't.
No.
He did. He did something. He didn't try. He did something. It failed. He ran away. There wasn't a try at it. He failed.
It's almost like he forgot that lesson.
He did.
Or what
He
that
forgot
lesson was meant to be.
And then, and then the next thing Yoda was, the burden of a master is for their pupils to surpass them. That's something we have to live with. And I think that's what finally kind of clicked with Luke to make him show up. I really wish he would have shown up instead of force projected himself.
But that was so awesome because it
really
gave the
cool.
opportunity to get all shot at.
Yeah,
and
he
then...
was the distraction. He was the perfect decoy.
I know. It was really cool.
And honestly, I liked that better just because of his death. We knew he was going to die in the end of it. And the fact that he just went on his own, he was so exhausted from his use of the Force that it ended him.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful ending for him to be able to transition into the Force.
You're
that
right.
was beautiful.
And let's face it.
If he would have been struck down by a lightsaber, I wouldn't have had that same...
It wouldn't have been the same as it was when Ben died.
Well...
Han?
No, Ben.
Oh, right.
In the original.
The original Ben, right.
The original Ben.
Well, I don't know. Only if that swing that killed him was just about as slow and painful as that one from Vader. I mean, I imagine that's what it would look like if hit you with a cane.
They've gone back and explained why that fight was so slow. Because Anakin was in conflict with seeing Obi-Wan and facing him again. Because the last time he faced him, he lost a leg and two limbs.
Two legs. I thought he lost
2 legs
both
and
legs.
the other limb. Excuse me.
It's bad that I've kind of lost faith in all these retcon.
I know the retcon stuff is
because
really
I rewatched
horrible.
something called the Star Wars was saved in the editing bay, and I watched and listened to some of the original lines. If my blade should find its mark, you will cease to exist. Almost meaning whoever got hit with a lightsaber in the original rendition, the original script of Star Wars would just disappear. It wasn't some spiritual crossing over. It was lightsabers eliminate the body.
See, that's why they need somebody to come in and clean up
Yeah.
Lucas stuff.
And that's
as much
why
as
the
we love
prequels
him,
just
he's
No,
got
he-
brilliant ideas. He just doesn't know how to
terrible
follow
movie.
through.
He has
got
created
good meat to the story, but
He's created a fantastic universe, a world, a sandbox to play in with amazing characters at
amazing.
depth.
Incredible.
He just lacks in how to have that dialogue. There are some writers out there that are amazing at dialogue, but they lack in the world building part. I mean, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and his weakness happens to be dialogue. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. I mean, even with the current movies, even Episode 8 has some weird dialogue. So does 7. But we let it go because everything else is really great. Why the heck did we go to Canto Blight, and what does that have to do with anything? I have no clue.
What's Canto Blight?
It's the gambling world.
Oh.
It's the episode 1 feeling scene of the...
you see, and I feel like this new one really did that. They kept going back, and they kept taking elements from previous episodes and making it another episode. Say, oh, look, it's something new. And I really felt there was a lot of
May
rehash.
I point out that Poe is the one who destroyed the Resistance?
He is. There is a reason for that. Star Wars is kind of like the main theme of Star Wars that George Lucas has always said is it's a haiku. It's built on haiku. There's reoccurring themes. So that's why we keep...
As in the poem style?
Yeah. Yep.
That makes no sense?
Yeah, well, that's how he does it.
See, and that's not... Even all these things we've talked about aside, that's not the reason that personally I didn't enjoy it. Now, it was an amazing movie, amazing writing.
I enjoyed it as I was watching it.
But for me, like, going to a Star Wars movie is all about escapism.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about leaving feeling like, wow, that was amazing. It's this... You leave with a happy feeling of, wow, that was incredible. I just went on an amazing voyage. But with this new Star Wars, it is so much more grounded in reality. Our heroes can fall. It's just such a darker tone. It's more reality-based. Like, almost all of the Resistance annihilated.
Yeah, you get that feeling in your gut like, wow, they barely made it out. That sucked.
But see, that's why I liked it. Because...
But how come people are hating this one when Rogue One pretty much did the same thing?
Because of what they did with Luke.
Hope.
Yeah, Rogue One, at the end of Rogue One, it left you with, inspiration. You're like, oh my goodness, she found it!
And then it moves into the sequel they made in 1977. I mean, really, that's what it is.
And we even knew going into this is part 2 of 3. Part 2s of 3s are always dark. The Empire Strikes Back had the same criticisms. It was too dark for its time.
Well, and this is now, this may strike a chord with some people. This is actually my second favorite Star Wars film now.
Okay, what's your first?
Empire.
Okay.
So
I won't get too mad then.
That's okay.
But again,
then Jedi.
we still have
Empire,
the Return of the Jedi of the trilogy.
And then
New Hope.
And so we're hopeful that even though it wasn't written,
Rogue One.
even though it wasn't written, I wish they would have actually had a solid vision for all 3. But from how it sounds like they're kind of just flying by the seat of their pants. But at least we know
that
the trilogy,
presents us with an issue of Carrie Fisher.
Well,
exactly.
see, and that
at least
is the
part
problem.
3 hopefully will lift up what we've been...
So part 3 was originally supposed to be Carrie Fisher's character of Leia is supposed to confront Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen now, unfortunately, because of events.
Thank you for not saying
She doesn't
it
want
again.
to
So
talk to him
I really
after
believe
he blew her up.
I really believe Luke as a Force ghost is going to be more prominent in this next movie.
What wouldn't surprise me is if that line that he says, "If you strike me down now in anger, Ben, I will never leave you. I will always be with you." Like
it makes me wonder if they reshot that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm betting that was a reshoot,
Yeah.
so that they could have his Force Ghost be a major part in that third one, replacing the lady.
No, and I think that's what it's going to be, and that's how it's. Now he's stronger, because of his mistake. He's come back. That is the one thing that even Kenobi said when he was fighting, Vader. You strike me down, I'll be more powerful than you can ever imagine. And I think, yes, it sucks that Luke has gone to the way of the Force, but I honestly believe we'll now see a much stronger Luke that will be able to help Rey establish the Jedi Order, as well as he will be badgering Ben like no other now.
That's going to be awesome.
With the modern humor. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder, are they going to kill her off screen, or do they have enough footage to splice something together from
This is
movies? Not old
They don't
movies,
have
but-
anything. I don't think they have anything. to be
No.
honest.
Now I'm really curious. Can a Force Ghost move things? Can he
Yes.
use the Force?
Yes.
Look at
Yeah.
So,
Yoda and the light.
so
Yeah.
technically he could be
Yoda-
like a poltergeist.
I mean, Yoda created a lightning storm and destroyed the tree. The
Good
tree.
point. Good point.
You
that
know?
was funny.
This is gonna be like, if they do it right, that could be really, really fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things.
hope
Honestly,
they do that right.
there's two ways they can handle this. One, it's in the scroll. Or two, they start episode 9 immediately with her funeral.
And say it was consequences of...
Just of all the events. I mean, she got sucked out into space, for crying out loud, and had to pull herself into the ship using the Force. That's the first time we've ever seen Leia use the Force.
Not only that, I mean, a couple of years could have passed. I mean, look at the other movies. Like,
Yeah.
years passed between every other movie. It's just this one just happened to be
You know
like,
what's funny?
Oh, and we're still going.
Yeah.
See, I think the whole Force thing was, because I mean, did she really study the ways
Am I
of the
going to
Jedi?
have to do silence?
Or is-
I kill you again on this?
It's the whole, it's using the Force to Mary Poppins herself back into the ship.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is there, like, did she really, like, train as a Jedi, or was that more of like a instinctive reflex?
I think that was
the
an
Force
yes.
inside of her
Yes.
was like, you know what, we're saving her now.
You're saving
Rather
yourself
than-
compared to
than
last
her-
time.
Rather than her
people-
rather than her self-consciously thinking, okay, I now need to bring myself into the
I
ship.
think she's used the Force a little bit. I don't think she's been using it like would have seen in the books. But I think that, yes, that was a
more of a reflex rather than a reaction.
Yes.
I
You
feel
know.
like she's been using it her entire time as general.
And maybe
the
she
ability to see
has.
things a little ahead of time.
Yeah.
And maybe she does.
The ability to inspire other
Yeah.
people, to be able to reach
Oh,
into their
yeah.
hearts
Well-
and say, you can do this
Well,
without
if
waving her
that
finger.
is the
like-
case-
Well, and it explains why she couldn't find Luke with the Force. He shut himself off to it.
Well, yeah, and if that is the case, then she is more of a sentinel that uses battle meditation, which would make a lot of sense.
It does.
You know, because you see her on, when the battle's going on, you see her on the bridge, and she's just sitting there. So and things are that Bastila Shan from Knights of the Old Republic was that type. She would meditate, and she could manipulate things by inspiring her troops, and it would uninspire the other troops.
Which really sucks when Poe turned her off on the transmission.
But we got Haldo, and she was awesome.
So
Kamikaze.
could
Even
explain
though I
why.
think they should have done that they should have had that entire role just be Akbar.
I mean, that could really have explained why Kylo hesitated. He was dead set, and then he suddenly hesitates.
And then somebody else does it for him.
Then someone else does it. You're right. So it would be interesting to find out, but they don't really explain that. That is the one thing that's so frustrating. They, like the Aftermath books would have been a fantastic book series to explain all these things. Nothing. But
Because they want to leave things open for the next directors.
yeah,
They want to make sure that that ground isn't covered.
See,
in
and I
need
think
to
that's
cover
the
that.
issue with this new trilogy is there's no blueprint.
no. I think there is bare bone, but they really don't know. So, as frustrating as it was still a good movie. There was a
I
lot
enjoyed
of-
it as I was watching it. It's
there
just
was a
after.
lot of fantastic.
Fun bowl of
I
nachos.
love classic movies like Casablanca and The Godfather, but the problem is that they're not feel good, come out of it.
Yeah.
I just went through a sci-fi adventure type movie, and I don't feel like this one was either. If you want something like that, I say go to Jumanji.
The
but-
ending felt too final too.
It definitely felt like there's still one more coming.
See, and even now, if you're going to compare it to like movies like The Godfather, I still don't feel like it even matches up to that. Because like The Godfather, yeah, is it happy at the end? No, but at the same time, you're just awestruck by the amazingness that just happened and the craziness and all. You're like, whoa!
So you're saying that there was no awestruck in the filmmaking?
I didn't. I mean, there was the hyperdrive. Really, just made me go, wow, yeah. Other than that, though,
See,
You mean
I
when
thought it was a
she
little bit
did
of
the
a physical-
hyperdrive?
That
And
was
yeah, the
really cool.
kamikaze.
That was really cool. But then I have the one question of, then why aren't X-wings and all these other ships doing that?
They're
Why
too little.
Why suddenly?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Are we
think
doing
about
that
it.
now?
Think about it. You kamikaze an X-wing into the side of a Star Destroyer.
You're right, but X-wings have hyperdrives.
Well, yeah.
So
but,
if you did that, that would at least pierce through a few layers. Maybe it's not enough to go all the way through.
Or would it even just get destroyed on the shields? Would you have to have shields down to even make that
We don't-
possible? A bigger ship, I don't see that being the case. A bigger ship, size comparison-wise,
It's Newton.
that's physics. It's
Newton.
going to go through and something bad's going to happen. Shields aren't going to fix that.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, with that hyperdrive blast into
Okay.
the ship, how come it annihilated all the stormtroopers magically, but Rose and Finn were just fine? Like, they're completely surrounded, and all of a sudden, oh, looks like we're alone. I guess we're alone now.
And
Plot.
Phasma survives too.
See, again, another...
Plot.
Yeah.
No, I mean there's so many things. The other
But
thing,
BB-8 was awesome.
I mean taking over.
The Finn Adventures.
Yeah. I mean the other thing. Shields wouldn't matter. We already know that because why? Han and Chewie zipped through the shields around Starkiller Base because they were in hyperspace.
Well,
Oh,
those
yeah.
those shields operated at that. Are all shields like that? 'Cause
I
if
would
all
assume
shields
that
are
all.
like that.
I would assume that all shields are the same.
I
That's
figured with the
my other
frequency.
favorite part of the. Or that's my
Yeah, I
favorite
would
part
assume
of
that
Force
they're
Awakens.
constantly
It's
modulating
classic Han.
frequency, so that would have to be the same.
But it's classic Han. I love. That
I know,
part.
but if we go by the theory, yeah, I mean that would they'd have to apply that because if it's already been established in a movie that is canon, you got to keep that going.
Well, then
and
you're
that's
gonna
just
have
basic story
kamikaze
writing.
X-wing pilots, and then you'll
Maybe they'll do it in the third movie
Maybe.
just to make
Yeah,
sense.
and then next thing you know, people are going to be like, what is this?
But what if nobody
then
thought
again-
about
World War
it
II,
before she did?
Right. But then again, I still have the same question. Why did those bombers move so freaking slow in space?
Oh,
Weight
right?
doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And why aren't they shielded? They're full. That whole bottom thing is full of bombs, and they're not going to shield that ship? What?
It seems
Plot.
to me like it was a little
I
bit
know, it's
a
stupid.
weird shape, too.
Oh, my gosh.
You didn't have to have a big, long thing. You could have like made it just a little bit wider and fatter.
I know.
That puts some big old rockets on the sides.
Personally, I'm a big fan of the Y-wing, man. I missed my Y-wing.
See,
The
the Y-Wings
Y-Wings
were
are not-
bombers. Those were
Yeah.
fantastic.
I thought those were the bombers.
They were fair.
They came in with
they
the
were a little
photon
bit slower.
cannons.
They were a little bit slower, but they were still very maneuverable. These
And they
things
had
were
great
crap.
shields.
Yeah,
Y-Wings had good shields.
because they didn't want to explode. I mean, they had
Exactly.
bombs on them. Not only that, what the heck? The Rebel troop carrier? What the heck is up with that? It looks like a sky car, like extended.
I
know-
feel like
It's like a
some of their
dog bone.
designs, they're,
Yeah.
they're trying too hard to look different.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
This
you don't
review
need to.
went in a completely different section.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like trying to...
It's like darker.
It's like trying to redesign a bed.
Our Empire Strikes
A
Back is
bed
so much darker.
has to have a same basic shape. You can't just do all sorts... You can't put spikes in the middle of it just to make it different.
Oh, you could. It would look cool.
It would, but that's not a functioning bed
No,
at that
it's
point.
not.
I feel like you two could go on about this.
Oh,
for,
we
like,
could.
The entire
We could,
show.
but
We're over the
out of
30
time.
minute
All right,
We are
we should
well
probably
out of
wrap
time.
this up. Yeah,
Bye,
just
everybody.
Stormtrooper helmets. Ugh. Anyways, final, just letter grades. Let's go around, and then we'll wrap this up because otherwise I'll just keep talking. So, who wants to go first? Mackenzie
C
does.
plus.
Wow. Ouch.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I really enjoyed it as I was watching it. But the more I've thought about it, and the more I've thought about it in terms of Star Wars, it's it's average.
Okay, C plus for Mackenzie. All right. Baron?
Mackenzie has
Solid
spoken.
C.
Solid C.
C.
Wow.
It's a lot of rehash. There was some good acting in it. I did like a lot of elements of the story, but I kept getting pulled I kept getting pulled back into previous episodes where I'm like, oh, I've seen this already. Oh, they're doing that again. Or all right.
See, his reasoning's different than mine, though.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get
It's
and then at
similar,
the same time at
but
the
it's
end
different.
like I didn't get that uplifted wow.
You're not
It
supposed
was-
to.
It was that
I will say
fizzled.
this: it had a lot of surprises, which made it fun, and that's why I got the plus. But
Okay.
not enough to
See,
get it above.
All right, Scott.
4, 5, and 6 all had good feel good endings.
What?
New
Are you-
Hope.
I
you
did
kidding?
it.
All right.
Han was in carbonite.
Let's shift to Scott. Otherwise, we're going to keep talking.
But you were excited. You knew something was happening.
I know something's happening in
You
9.
knew we'd get Han back.
Yes.
Something might happen.
All right.
And you just found out about Vader being the father, and you're like, oh, that means there's hope. They're communicating between ships. There's hope.
Crap.
Anyway, okay. So as a film, I would say B plus for story. I would say those moments that were really exciting, that were really cool. There was a lot of stuff in there that just didn't need to be in there. So as far as a film, B plus. As far as a Star Wars film, right now it's hovering around a C plus. But it's an inconclusive grade because it's an inconclusive story. It's a part 2 of 3 of a trilogy. it's meant to be a cliffhanger, and I feel that it was written as a cliffhanger, and I hope that they know where they're going with it. But I think for final judgment, I'm going to have to reserve my judgment until I actually see part 3, because it was purposefully left as a cliffhanger, and I feel as a Star Wars movie, it was made too dark for the Star Wars. It felt like it pulled out of the Star Wars universe for me, but I have to reserve my judgment until I see the concluding chapter.
I'm concerned. I'm curious where J.J. Abrams is going to go with it, because he's the more uplifted version. So it'll be interesting.
On the one hand, Lost, the later seasons, is kind of a scary idea.
Yeah.
But other things that he's done are very exciting. So he could go back and say, hey, all these other things that we started, don't worry, we're going to go back and answer all of our questions from the first one and wrap it all up. And that's what I'm hoping.
Wow.
Sounds like a little comment.
I'm the one that's always told it to the person that hates it. And I'm giving it an A-. Jeez.
Wait, what?
Yes,
I know,
it's
this
an
is
A-.
weird.
I really liked it. Yes, losing Luke sucked.
But we didn't lose him.
Luke being kind of curmudgeon and not the hero Luke that I've always enjoyed and expected and enjoyed in the books was not there. That's why it's not an A. But there was still a lot that I enjoyed. I did enjoy Luke's story arc because he did kind of redeem himself. He did learn something. I love the fact that they brought Yoda back in to teach that lesson, and then on the same time, Yoda was still pulling strings behind the scenes where, he blasts that and he's like, those books don't mean anything. Rey already possesses everything that's within him. And then the next scene you see is her closing a drawer and the books are in there. And I like the fact that I didn't know what was going on in the movie. It was not predictable. Everything that we had thought didn't matter anymore. Snoke, who cares? He's gone.
My grade may change after the third movie comes out.
And Scott has a big point that it is that middle movie. It could change if we know the remainder of the story. So I still think it's an A-. It's still my second favorite Star Wars movie. So I will wrap it up with that. So give us your opinions, your thoughts, because we've given you ours and they've gone everywhere. So maybe yours will too. So with that said, we're out of here.
May the Force be with you.
That was R2.
You're listening to Dungeon Crawlers Radio. Please subscribe and follow them on Facebook or Twitter, please. No, we're even promoting these filthy idiots. Who doesn't likes them? Who doesn't likes anyone? No, they're our friends, please, our friends. No, shut up. Please subscribe.